Hey guys, that's right, I'm back. This is part 2. Figure I'll go ahead and make this up now, and that way it's there. And Mika right there. Mika boo boos. Ha! Kiss the baby. Okay. Like I was telling you guys, I've had health issues. A lot. And a lot of you guys don't know this, but I've had throat issues where I have to go in every so often and I have to be knocked out on a surgery table. And they have to go down with a thing through my mouth. And then they have to pop my throat with a balloon. Because my vocal cords literally crush in. So I can't swallow or eat anything. And I mean, I used to have like a bulimic issue when I was growing up. A lot of my family don't even know this because they weren't around in my life for this. So yeah, I had a lot of bulimic issues growing up as a kid, when I was in lockup and that because, well, let's just say the girls weren't so nice in there, and I was having a little bit of weight issues, like where I would lose it and I go like really skinny, and then I get really big and then I'd lose it and go really skinny. And I was just being, and then I started going bulimic in between all that. And I've stopped and I went and got help and I'm better, but it caused some bad scarring in my throat. The doctor said he could see that there was really old scarring in there, and he said he could tell that I was either, you know, purposely caused that a long time ago, because he says he could see everything, like everything. And then he went all the way down to my stomach with the, like, big old thing, and I had an ulcer in my stomach, and he said he didn't remove it because it was able to be removed with just taking some my medication that was already on for, that they put you on for when you're about to have gastric sleeve surgery. So he just told me to continue to take that and it should resolve itself. And then it did. The ulcer went away, but he told me that I need to be careful because I can keep on getting ulcers in my stomach or whatever, because I will always be at risk now that I've had one. And so, yeah, that happened. And then I had the one surgery. I had to go back in and get it redone again with the balloon down my throat. Pop. Boom. Yeah. So that's always going to be a continuance. Every time I have a surgery, I have to go get my throat which I need to go get it done again, because when I had my skin removal surgery, I haven't went and had it redone, and that's why it's been really hard to swallow anything or drink. Like, even drinking water, I choke on it. I can't even get it swallowed. And the weirdest part is, like, the smallest pills are the ones that get stuck, and the big ones just go down like nothing sometimes, and other times it's the big pills that could get stuck. It just depends. But the most concerning thing is when I'm swallowing water, it's literally causing me to gag and choke. Which means I need my throat resized, and he needs to go in with a balloon, and boom. So that needs to be done. And then I also need to go back in for another skin removal surgery that I haven't had. And I'm going to tell you guys why I haven't gone in for this other skin removal surgery. I don't know if I ever told you guys, but I went in and had a skin removal surgery, and I had my stomach done, which, if you guys don't know, I don't have a belly button anymore. I had it removed during that procedure because, well, they said if I had it removed altogether, I could get a flatter stomach. So I figured, why not? I didn't need a belly button. I think they're gross anyways, and they are just unsanitary. So it was great for me. I was like, whatever, I don't even need a belly button. So I don't have a belly button anymore, literally. And I'm not even kidding. There's literally no belly button. You can look it up and see on the page site what it could look like without no belly button. You just don't have a belly button. I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, my belly button's still there underneath my skin, and it's sewed down, but it's not visually there on my skin. So, anyways, the reason why I don't want to go have another surgery, it's not that I don't want to have it. I'm kind of scared, and this is why. When I had this surgery, I came home, and with this surgery details that you can't really do any activity. You are pretty much bedridden or chair-ridden. No movement, no exercising. The only time you're allowed to get up is to go to the bathroom, get a drink, and get something to eat. and then it's right back to bed or right back in your chair with you propped. You have to be popped up with your legs popped up above your head. And you have to be elevated in a certain position. So, because you got to remember, your stitches are from one side of your body to the other side. And for me, it was literally from one hip side to the other hip side. And so I could not do anything like the doctor wanted me to. And I did. And then by the time, it was like 2 weeks went by after the surgery. Everything was going great. Not so great when I was supposed to leave the hospital. I actually almost passed out, and they almost had to hit code blue at the hospital. I almost lost consciousness, and I was not doing so well. But they still let me go home. Because I begged them to let me go home. And I think it was just because I had been so much long in that bed and I wasn't able to get up, and they wouldn't allow me to get up out of bed other than go to the bath. I didn't even get to go to the bathroom while I was there, other than when they wanted me to go to the bathroom before I left. And that's what I was trying to do when I had the pass out. So yeah, I was in the bed the whole entire time I was there after the surgery. So the day before, I was in bed, and the day of, before I left, I was still in bed. And then they finally were trying to get me to move and everything, and I thought I was okay, but I was fine in the bed. But as soon as I got the first step in, I guess I should have said something that I was feeling a little woof, and then I was feeling nauseous, and then the next thing I remember is I told her I didn't feel so good, and that's when it went down. Like, she started grabbing me a puke bag, and I was literally on the toilet. She grabbed me a puke bag. She's literally having to hold me like this with a belt thing around me. And she's like ready to pull the chain on code blue. And she told me if I hadn't responded to her within like a second, she was about to pull that chain. And I wouldn't have been going home. I would have been in the hospital for at least a few more days. And she asked me what had happened, and I told her, I was like, well, I guess I should have said something when I got out of the bed, but, you know, I'm stubborn, and I'm one of those people, oh, it's just a little pain, you'll get past it, just walk, you'll be better. Walk it off. Well, I walked it off, got to the bathroom, was going to go to the bathroom, and apparently I didn't walk it off good enough, because, yeah, my body was saying other, but as soon as I got back to the bed and I was relaxed for a moment, after everything settled, I was fine again. And then I got up again, we tried again, just to see, and this time we took it really slow, and this time they brought in extra people, and I was fine. And I was good. I mean, I was sore, and it was still like a little woof every time you get up a little bit, because, you know, you're not used to it. You've been in bed. So anyways, long story short, I'm all good and all that, whatever. And then I come home, and then 2 weeks later, after surgery, another crazy thing broke out. I started feeling this horriblest pain ever in my chest. And my husband's like, you're not really supposed to be walking yet. And I was like, I know, but I'm so stubborn. I just want to walk down to the bus stop and back. I just want to see if I can make it. So I started walking down there, because I did get some privileges back to where I could walk. The doctors did say I could walk, so I did. And so I was like, oh man, I can't breathe. I was like, oh, it hurts. And he's like, maybe you should go home. I was like, okay, I'm going to go home. So I walked back, and he walked back with me to make sure I got in and everything okay, and helped me back into the bed. And I just was feeling horrible. And then they went out of town to go do something, because, you know, when you're on bed rest, you don't really get to go and do all that. And the only way I would have been able to do that was to be in a cart, and I don't want to be in a handicap cart now that I've lost this weight. So I was like, no, I'll just stay home, get better, then I'll go out. Well, then by the time they got home, I couldn't breathe. I was gasping for air, and it hurt so bad to breathe. Every time I breathe, coughs, anything, it just hurt. So I called the hospital, and I called the first nurse, and I said, I don't know if I should even come in. I don't even know if it's worth it being seen. I was like, but I can't handle this anymore. I just need to know if it's just in my head, or if it could be from the surgery or what. And she said, I think you should come in. This sounds concerning. So I come in, I get in the ER, tell the doctor what's going on. Of course, you know, this doctor thinks, oh, she's just here for the pain meds, whatever. And when I told him, I don't want no pain meds, I want to know what's going on, then he took me serious. So then he started running his test. And my husband came in and he's like, is everything okay? It's taking forever. I was like, the doctor didn't believe me at first. I was like, he thinks I was like just blah, 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 making things up. I was like, and then the doctor came in and he's like, okay, well, we finally figured out what's going on with you. And I said, okay, what? And he says, you have a blood clot in your right lung. I'm like, I have a what? And he's like, you have a blood clot in your right lung. And I'm like, oh. And then this doctor must not have a very good doctoring degree, because then he asked me, do you want to go home or do you want to stay here? I'm like, right lung, blood clot, can't really breathe, can't really sit or stand. I think I'm going to go upstairs in the hospital and make you actually do your job. So I didn't care if he didn't like it. And every time I see this doctor, I really don't trust his judgment anymore as a doctor. And if I don't care if he even watches this or whatever, or if he hears about it. Anyways, long story short, I went upstairs, I stayed the night. The next day, they ran some more tests. They did some tests with blood clotting testing to check my legs with the ultrasound. They did a CT scan, a few others, and then it came back. I threw another blood clot in the night. And then I became high risk. Even more. Because the one in my right lung was still there, and it was actually still putting pressure on my lung. And I had one traveling up my left leg to my heart. It got so scary, they didn't even want me to leave the hospital, but I'm so stubborn. And I don't like to be home away from my kids, and I don't like to be away from my animals that I consider my kids also. And I just wanted to be home. I figured if worse was going to happen, I'd rather be home and let worse happen there. I don't want to do it in a hospital where I don't know anything or know anybody. And so he's like, the one doctor came in. I really liked him. He was like actually better than the ER doctor. And he said, look, he's like, I really don't want to let you go home. He's like, but if you really want to go home, he's like, that's fine. But we're going to ask that you don't do any activity, you don't go anywhere, you don't do anything, you don't breathe, cough, yell, scream, you don't get any stressed out, you don't get spooked, you don't do nothing. I'm like, okay, why? He said, because if you do any of these things, you are going to die. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, he's like, let me put it this way. He's like, that blood clot is traveling. And he's like, we are trying to push the blood thinners through. We're trying to nail it. But he said, if I let you go home and you get spooked or you get scared and whatever, or you do this or you do that, and you do too much, you're going to die. I'm like, okay, I promise. I'll go home. I'll be good. Even my husband's like, she's going to go home. She's going to be good. I'm going to make sure. And he was. My son, on the other hand, apparently didn't take it seriously because he wouldn't stop spooking me until my husband finally had to literally barricade him away from my bedroom and tell him, you are no longer allowed near her. You're going to kill your mother if you keep scaring her on purpose, thinking it's funny and not realizing that it's really serious. And then when he realized that Dad was being serious, he wanted to come in and say he was so sorry to me and that he loved me. And I was like, oh, it's okay. You didn't mean any harm. We play around like that. That's our family thing. We spook each other. And he didn't mean no harm. And, you know, he's a kid. Kids are going to do kids things. And I would have done it, not realizing it. And then I would have been like him. I would have said I was sorry. So, long story short, that's why I haven't gotten my other skin removal surgery. I am scared that I might throw another blood clot and this one could actually kill me. And that's because the doctors told me now that I've had them, I will always possibly have them. And I will always have to worry if it hits my heart. And he said if it hits my heart, it will automatically kill me. I will have no timing to get to the hospital. I will be dead. So there's your story of that. So hope you guys liked it. Keep watching my videos. I will be making another Christmas videos eventually. Alright, bye.